Well, good evening, guys. We're super excited to be here with you, but not with you, via web stream. We hope that you guys are doing well today, halfway through the week. We definitely miss you, and hopefully that soon we can be together again in the same building and worshiping together. But we're super excited to be here and to worship with you guys from wherever you're at. So hopefully this time of worship will just be a time that you can just kind of let go, let loose, and just press into the Lord right now. So as we get started, just do that with us, and let's do it. It'll be good. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. You give life. You give light, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. Sing, it's your breath. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. And great are you, Lord. You give life, you are love, you bring light to my darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. It's your breath tonight. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. Let's sing this out. All the earth. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will say, great are you, Lord. Come on, declare that tonight. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will say, great are you. Let's sing that one more time tonight. It's all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will say, great are you, Lord.
into the room, everything changes. Darkness starts to tremble at the light that you bring. And when you walk into the room, every heart starts burning. And nothing matters more than just to sit here at your feet and worship you. We worship you. Never stop, can't live without you, Jesus. We love you, and we can't get enough. All this is for you, Jesus. Situation ceases to exist. And when you walk into the room, the dead begin to rise, 'cause there is resurrection life in all you do. And we love you, and we'll never stop. Can't live without you. So come and consume, God, all we are. We give you permission, our hearts are yours. We want you, we want you. Sing it out. Come and consume, God, all we are. We give you permission, our hearts are yours. We want you, we want you. Shout it out. So come and consume, God, all we are. We give you permission, our hearts are yours. We want you, we want you. So come and consume, God, all we are. We give you permission, our hearts are yours. We want you, we want you. Sing we love, and we love you. And we'll never stop, can't live without you, Jesus. We love you, and we can't get enough. And all this is for. Sing it out one more time. We love, and we love you, and we'll never stop. We can't live without you, Jesus. We love you, and we can't get enough. And all this is for you, Jesus. Jesus.
Lord, we just thank you for your presence. We thank you, God, that whether we realize it or not, we can't get enough of you. But you also, Lord, are completely consumed with us. God, I pray for every person where they're at right now, in their homes, in their vehicles, hanging out with friends, wherever they're at, Lord, I pray that you just settle in that place and you just make your presence so aware, make them so aware of your presence. Just settle there, Lord. Help them to see how real you are. God, I thank you for the students that are watching who live in homes where mom and dad may not be pro you or pro church or pro these kids' faith. God, I thank you that these kids are representatives of you in their homes. Lord, I thank you for the testimonies we're already hearing where kids are sharing, students are sharing their faith with their parents, and parents in a time of uncertainty are turning and asking questions about maybe, what if. God, I thank you that you see us, you know our name, and your word says you're our ever-present help in time of need. We glorify you. We thank you for who you are. In your precious name, amen. Amen. Okay, Jacob, you can't leave. Come over here. So, everybody, first of all, you need to know this. Mr. Jacob, today is his 27th birthday. So, for you guys, if you're friends with him on Facebook, yeah, because you're not on Instagram right now, are you? No? Okay, so if you see him, if you have his number, whatever, text him. Let him know happy birthday. He's the dad of the cutest little boy in the world. Co-parent, like his wife is part of that, right? Yeah. So happy birthday, Jacob. We love you so much. 27. Like, we should be having a huge party for you tonight, but everybody's at home. Josh's birthday, and he's 39. I bet he loved that you just told everybody he's 39. Happy birthday, Josh, if you're watching at home. Jacob, we love you. Happy birthday. Okay, so I am super excited about this series we've been in. I'm excited about just what we've been studying, looking at, okay, what's the one thing that we want to cover tonight? And so in this process, actually, Joe and I sat down and with Caitlin, and we began to make a list of some of the things that like students have sent in on questions, and just like, what are these things that we keep seeing repeated? And so tonight, one of the things that we decided to talk about was bitter or better. And that sounds like a really like, oh yeah, okay, I get that topic, except for when we begin to look at ourselves, it becomes incredibly uncomfortable, right? Because we don't want to admit when we have the option of being better that we choose to be bitter. So just like the last couple weeks, we grabbed a few of your friends, got on Zoom today, and we just talked a little bit about the difference between bitterness and what it takes to be better. Y'all check out this video. Hey guys, I just want to say thank you first of all for jumping on here with me today and talking about our topic. We're in this series called One Thing, and tonight we're talking about just the difference of being bitter or being better. And we've all experienced opportunities in our life where we've just been angry. Things have happened. It's not been our fault. Things have been out of our control, and we've had those emotions. But I want to talk to you a little bit about bitterness. I want to introduce everybody here. We've got Tucker, Ashlyn, Blake, and Skylin. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Welcome, Tia.
Let me throw the first question out, and you guys just tell me what you think. Nope, you can answer in any order, okay? What are things in life that cause people to be bitter? Like, what are some things that take people from the place of just anger to full-on bitterness?
Jealousy.
Jealousy? Okay. Expound on that. When you think of jealousy, like jealousy of what, Tucker?
Like anything. I could be jealous of anything.
Okay. All right. What do you think?
I'd say other people.
What did you say, Ashlyn?
Other people?
Other people can cause you to be bitter?
Yes.
Like just their existence causes you to be bitter?
No.
It's like you're sucking air, I'm bitter.
Well, it's more like y'all are both working towards a goal, and you feel like you're working harder than that person, and then they get what you thought you deserved.
Okay,
exactly.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like sometimes it's because of because people may have their parents may have a better position, or they have more money, and all of a sudden it's like they're getting stuff that they didn't work for, like it's just handed to them? Is that the kind of thing that makes a person bitter?
Yeah.
Actually,
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Possibly,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, what are some other things that cause people to be bitter?
You can hold a grudge or refuse to forgive someone.
Okay,
That's a good answer, Bryce.
Bryce,
answer.
hey Bryce, what do you mean you hold a? Say that again. Say that again.
You hold a grudge against somebody, or you refuse to forgive them.
Okay. Why do you think it's so hard to forgive people, y'all?
Because that's the easier route, to just not forgive them and just to hold a grudge.
Yeah. Do you
Because
think
it is pretty hard to forgive someone.
especially if they don't apologize, right? It's really hard to forgive somebody who won't own their stuff. And it's like, you can go to them and you're like, you did this to me. And they're like, no, I didn't. And you're like, okay, you know, you're going to catch these hands if you don't say I'm sorry, right? Okay, Skylar, what do you think? What do you think about the whole bitterness? Like, what are some things that you've seen that cause people to get bitter?
Well, I'd probably say like the past. Like, it's easier to focus on the past and like the relationships that you've had with like your friends, your family, or like your boyfriend, girlfriend, and like things like that.
So once a person, so with people are angry and they choose not to forgive, or they're jealous, like Tucker said, or there's a competition, you're all working towards the same goal. The anger, the frustration, once it goes to full-blown bitterness, why does it seem so hard to like go back to just being normal? Why does it seem like bitterness is so hard to overcome? Because it's beyond just anger.
Because that becomes like the comfortable thing to do and not just to get past it.
Okay. Do you think that when it comes to bitterness, sometimes people enjoy the feeling of just being angry?
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
You do? Okay, explain that, Ashlyn.
So because things don't just change just because you forgive somebody.
Yeah.
Like they're still the same person. But I think it's kind of aggravating when you see that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, so
I don't
like,
know, it's just easy to be angry at somebody.
Sure. Okay, so like, let's say you guys all were like, you had a friendship or you were in a relationship and things went south really fast and you were like, I can't do this anymore. And you had a big blow up. And even down the road, the person was like, I'm not responsible for that. That's all on you. And so months, maybe even a year goes by and they come back and they're like, I'm sorry. And they expect things to go back to the way it was. Are you okay, Blake?
Yeah, I'm good.
They expect things to go back to the way it was. And you're like, look, I can forgive you, but we're not going to go there again. Like, I'm not opening up. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like, do you feel like that's bitterness, or do you feel like it's just wisdom to say, look, I'm going to forgive you, but like, we're not going to be best friends again, or we're not going to get back into that relationship again because of what happened. I learned a lesson and I'm not going to go there with you again. Do you feel like that's bitterness, or do you feel like that's wisdom?
I feel like it's
I feel like it's pretty bitter to feel like that people aren't just going to, like, they just can't change their ways.
Okay. So you think that it's still a form of bitterness because they're not willing to start over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or accept people changing.
Okay. And Ashlyn, you said both. What do you mean by that?
I think it could be taken really either way. So like, some people don't realize that they're doing something wrong, and so they don't apologize for it, or they don't really notice it or try to change anything about it. But then some people do try to change stuff about it. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay. What do you think, Tucker?
I mean, I feel like it'd be kind of selfish to not forgive them if they apologize.
Okay. Yeah. Ashlyn, what about, Skylar, what about you?
Well, I feel like, this is just my opinion, but like, I feel like you're always going to like have like that little tiny grudge. Like, even if you do say you forgive them, like, I feel like you're still going to hold just like a tiny grudge and still be a little bitter about like that person or that situation that you had with them.
Because the memories don't go away, right? So it's just like, I want to forgive you. So would it be fair to say sometimes forgiveness is a process? Like, somebody does something horrible and you're like, I forgive you, but then like a memory pops up and you have to choose to continue to forgive that person, because sometimes things people do it's not simple, it's complicated, it's over a period of time. Like a kid who was abused by their dad all their life, like that may be something that they don't just let go of in an instant. It may be something that, every day I have to choose to forgive my dad. Every day I've got to choose. I mean, would that be fair to say is that what you're talking about, Skylin? That it's like, the memory doesn't go away, even though you're like, I'm trying to walk in this forgiveness. Okay, cool. One more question for you guys. When it comes to you having the option of like, I'm going to get better. I'm going to grow above this. I'm going to get past this. Or I'm just going to sit here in my feelings and I'm going to allow this all to just be part of who I am. Why? What are the intentional things you have to do to move past being bitter? Like you're at that crossroads. Something's happened, whatever that looks like, whether it's in a relationship with a boyfriend, girlfriend, with a parent, with a friend, with a coach that like promised you something and then the coach backed out and they're giving somebody else the opportunity. Ashlyn, you're doing something in the rodeo world and things did not work out and you get taken advantage of and you're just like, wait a minute, in this moment, and we've all been there, in this moment, I get to go, I can choose to, okay, I'm going to learn from this. I'm not going to take this personal. That doesn't mean you don't get mad. Understand that. You're going to have emotions. You've got to let yourself have those emotions. But it's like, okay, I'm angry. I'm upset. This hurt my feelings. My heart is broken, whatever. Now I have to choose, do I internalize this and make this who I am? Or I'm not going to let this control me. What are the steps that you have to take if you're wanting to not let bitterness be who you are?
I think accepting that people just do things how they see the best way to do them is
okay.
Like it's actually the second part because I got to get bitter first. I'm just going to say that, like, that's me. But just accepting that somebody's going to be like that and see that that's not a wrong way of doing things because everybody does stuff different.
Okay. What were you going to say, Skylin?
Well, like what Ashlyn was saying, like you are going to be bitter in like that first part of it. But then like, you've just got to think like, is this something to like really be bitter about? Or like, am I just making something about it in my head? Okay. And like, just like what you were saying earlier, like trying to forgive them, and forgiving is a process, and just like try living in the moment more than just focusing on the past and the bitterness that you had.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. What do you think, Tucker?
Pretty much what they both said.
Okay. All right. And Blake, what about you, man?
I think it'd be really hard to regain the trust after something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you just gotta try and work towards that. Like I know with a relationship like that, that's probably something you like a boyfriend, girlfriend, you lose your trust like that. That'd be hard and almost impossible to regain. But
yeah, and also like the trust that you gain is like has a lot to do with like communication, because like even like it goes back to like holding a grudge. If you don't like communicate with them and like working anything out, it's only gonna get worse because you're just both gonna grow angry towards each other.
Yeah.
And nothing's ever gonna get right unless you like just like talk about it and be like not being afraid to like not necessarily hurt each other's feelings, but just like be honest with each other.
Okay. So
that's a good answer, Chris.
I said that this was my last question, but I've got one more. We all know people, and a lot of times when you think of like grumpy old people, you're like, what happened when they were younger that's made them this like miserable cow, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like things in our life that we don't let go of, and then we carry them on. So if let's say right now I hurt Tucker, like I did something and it's like almost destroyed Tucker's life, and then Tucker's like 40, he's 40 years old one day, and if he doesn't let go of whatever it is I did to him, the people in Tucker's life when he's 40 end up paying a price for something I did. Do you guys see that played out in other places? Like people pay a price for something that they didn't do. Like let's say like so you're dating somebody and they cheat on you, and then the next person that you date, you have a problem trusting because the person before cheated on you, and so you're like, you make the new person pay a price for something they didn't do. How do you avoid that? And I know that you said communication, but like how do you keep from taking whatever happened in a situation with one person into the next friendship, into the next relationship, into the next place that you work, or whatever it is you're dealing with? How do you avoid that? And Tucker, I'm not going to hurt you.
I think maybe
you have issues.
We just all.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. Say that again. What were you saying, Blake?
I was saying, what was I saying? Tucker, you go. I don't remember what I was saying.
Oh, I was agreeing with Amber.
just whatever. Yeah, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to make you like be in counseling with your 40. Okay.
Hopefully
All right.
not.
Okay. What do you think, Skylin? How do you keep from making somebody else pay the price for what somebody else did to you?
Well, like what Blake was saying earlier, like trusting them and then just like realizing that like they aren't that person, they're a different person, and just trusting that they won't like hurt you like that last person did.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Ashlyn?
I think just kind of trusting that people get put in your life for a certain reason at a certain time, just because they need to be there at that time, and you kind of have to just, I don't want to say you have to learn to open up to them, but you have to just be able to drop what happened in the past with different people, because like Skylin said, they're not the same person that the last person was.
Right. So do you guys think that, do you ever look at yourself and go, wow, I don't make a good choice when it comes to friends, or I've had, like, do you think that that's like, sometimes when you surround yourself with the same kind of people and the same thing keeps happening, you got to step back and go, maybe I need to evaluate who I'm hanging out with. Maybe I need to reevaluate the kind of people I'm putting in my life. Like, are these kind of people keep taking me down this same path, or do I have people that are challenging me and pushing me to be better versions of myself? Do you think that plays a part in that?
Well, along with that is you kind of have to step back and look at yourself too, instead of all the people that you're around, because if you keep getting in drama situations, then you kind of have to go, well, is it me or is it the other person that's starting it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, does anybody have anything you want to add to this? Any thoughts on the bitterness thing? Blake, you have anything, or your co-pilots?
We all forgot what we were going to say.
Great. Because you're going to work out. What did you tell me right before we hit record? The grind never stops or something like that?
Yeah, grind never stops.
Even with COVID-19, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Tucker, you have anything you want to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Ashlyn. Nope. Skylin? Okay, well, hey, guys, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, and can't wait to see you tonight.
Okay, that was just the funniest thing because Blake was trying so hard to stay focused. They had a scheduled workout, and he had this little entourage with him. And I love that he thought he was whispering and that no one could hear. He's like, there's Roger. Everybody's like, what does he say? Anyway, okay, so talking about being bitter or getting better, in this process of studying this out, I started thinking about how we all in our life start off the same, but yet we're all different. And in thinking about that and in studying that, I thought about something that I love very much, but most South Texans are not familiar with, and that's snow. Okay, I grew up in the Panhandle, and we had all the seasons, but winter usually was like in April. It was really weird. But snow, I love snow. I love going where there's snow. I don't want to live in it for long periods of time, but I love winter. And thinking about snowflakes, whether you've ever seen one or not, one thing we learn in school is that no two snowflakes are alike, that they're all different. And it's just like, oh, well, that's great. Every snowflake's different. But the big question I think we have to ask ourselves is why? Why, out of all the gabillion snowflakes that have ever fallen on the earth, why are there no two the same? And I think that we've got to stop and look at the fact that snowflakes are different because they bear the scars of the journey from the sky to the ground. So they start off the same, right? Every snowflake starts off the same. They're crystals of ice within a cloud formed by freezing temperatures. So they all start off as the same thing, but then each crystal experiences different factors on its way to the ground that changes and defines its shape. Some of those factors may be the temperature of the sky as they are being formed, the altitude of the cloud from which it fell, the trajectory of the wind it took as it fell to the earth. And then there's 1,000 other factors that cause snowflakes to look bigger or smaller or different or whatever. And I think in other words, snowflakes that we see, what they are, it's a result of things that it experienced on its way down. And people Follow me here, because I know you're like, where's she going with this? We're a lot like that, okay? I'm not calling you a snowflake. I'm just saying, in the way that works, we're similar. You are who you are because of your response to the things that you've experienced. I've said it to you, if you've known me more than a month, I've said it to you a million times. We're responsible. Someday we're going to stand before God, whether you're 15 or 115, we're going to stand before God on our actions and our reactions, right? So we are who we are based off of how we experience and how we react to things. The person that you're becoming, the person that you will be at the end of your life, is all dependent on how you respond to your future experiences in life, especially trials and tribulations. See, people know that. So that's why when you're in the first and second and third grade, they have come in and they into your school and they tell you don't do drugs because this is what happens if you do drugs. And they show you these horrible like pictures of accidents and stuff. And you're sitting there like, I have a belly button. Why am I watching this? Because their hope is that as a kid, you look at this and you're like, wow, someday if that ever comes across my path, I know to say no. They look at the fact that if we can teach you what's right on the front side, when the situation appears, you know the answer, you know how to react. In our life, good, bad, indifferent, we can either react or we can respond. What's the difference? I'm glad you asked. I've got a couple definitions for you. React. When we react to something, we're allowing the external event that we're experiencing to dictate what we do. What happens on the outside determines how we react. And some of you girls, especially middle school, y'all know what I'm talking about. You get all in your feelings and you're all like, oh, that's, you react to whatever happened. We act without thinking, and we allow the experience to shape our attitudes and feelings. And how often we have attitudes and feelings without even knowing the full story. We react. How dare you? I can't believe. And we build these opinions, and then we take a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and our reaction all of a sudden alters the way we see things, the way we feel. We react. Or we can respond. To respond to something, we make a choice.